Intent is a profound and elusive force, one that lies at the heart of the Toltec spiritual path. Far beyond the everyday notions of intention or desire, Toltec intent is understood as a universal creative energy that binds all things and shapes reality itself. It is not a product of the mind or a mere act of willpower. Rather, it exists as a fundamental animating principle of the cosmos. To engage with intent is to tap into the deeper currents of existence, aligning ourselves with a force that transcends personal ego and connects the individual to the infinite. This understanding of intent offers a transformative way of perceiving and navigating life. For the Toltecs, intent is not something to be controlled or commanded, but something to be harmonized with. It requires awareness, discipline, and a willingness to surrender to the flow of the universe while simultaneously acting with clarity and purpose. To master intent is to master the art of living impeccably, guided by a profound sense of alignment with both the self and the greater whole. In a world often dominated by fragmented attention and superficial goals, the Toltec view of intent invites us to move beyond surface-level desires and into a deeper engagement with the forces that shape our reality. It challenges us to cultivate presence, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to truth. Today's video will explore the Toltec concept of intent, examining its nature, its role in transforming our lives, and the practices through which we can attune to this powerful force. By delving into these teachings, we may uncover not only a pathway to personal empowerment, but also a timeless wisdom that offers relevance in today's chaotic and disconnected world. But before we get to that, the bit where I say thanks to everyone who has signed up to a tier on my Patreon. It definitely helps to keep the content flowing and the lights on, and I really do appreciate it. But before we get into the rest of today's video, let's run the snazzy intro thing. Alright, so in the Toltec tradition, intent is not merely a mental construct or an act of will, but a living, omnipresent force that permeates the universe. It is the invisible thread that weaves through all of existence, binding together the seen and the unseen realms. To the Toltecs, intent is the animating energy of creation, the driving force behind the manifestation of reality. It is not confined to individuals' desires or plans, but exists independently, an eternal and universal current that we can align with through awareness and discipline. This concept of intent goes way beyond ordinary intention or the intent that we speak about so often within spellwork and magic, and which often stems from personal ego, ambition, or fleeting desires. While intention may focus on specific outcomes or goals, Toltec intent represents a deeper, more fundamental principle. It is the force that shapes existence itself, creating and dissolving forms, thoughts, and experiences in the vast dance of life. The individual, in this context, becomes both a participant in and co-creator of the universe's unfolding, guided by their capacity to connect with and direct intent. In many ways, we could liken this to the Anglo-Saxon concept of weird. Toltec teachings often describe intent as a kind of spiritual energy that can be accessed and utilized by those who cultivate their awareness and refine their perception. It is closely tied to the practice of dreaming and stalking, key elements in the Toltec path. Dreaming involves navigating the inner world of perception and imagination, while stalking pertains to the art of living impeccably with clarity and purpose in the material world where we are stalking the energy. Both practices depend on the ability to align with intent, as it serves as the guiding force for the practitioner's journey through both waking and dreaming states. The Toltec view of intent also echoes certain principles found in other spiritual traditions, though it retains its unique emphasis and perspective. For example, it may be likened to the concept of prana in Indian philosophy, qi in Chinese Taoism, or even the idea of divine will in certain mystical traditions. As I mentioned just now, weird from the Anglo-Saxon. However, the Toltec approach to intent is distinct in its practical application and its focus on individual responsibility. While it acknowledges the vast and impersonal nature of intent, it also emphasizes that humans, as conscious beings, have the capacity to engage with and direct this force through their awareness and actions. In Toltec mythology, intent is often described in poetic or metaphorical terms, underscoring its ineffable and mysterious nature. It is said to be the silent voice that speaks without words, the unseen hand that moves without touch, and the eternal presence that exists beyond the bounds of time and space. Such descriptions serve to remind practitioners of the profound power of intent, while also highlighting the humility required to truly engage with it. To work with intent is to recognize our place within the greater web of existence, embracing both the vast potential and the deep responsibility that comes with such awareness. By understanding the nature of intent, the Toltec path provides a framework for transforming our relationship with reality. It is not a force to be controlled or commanded, but a dynamic energy to be harmonized with. This requires the practitioner to move beyond the limitations of the rational mind, cultivating a state of heightened awareness and surrender. In doing so, they become vessels for intent, allowing it to flow through them and manifest in their lives in ways that are both purposeful and aligned with the greater whole. The Toltec tradition teaches that aligning with intent is not about imposing our will on the universe, but about harmonizing with a vast, intelligent force that shapes existence. To align with intent requires more than desire or ambition. It demands a deep commitment to self-awareness, discipline, and impeccability. It is through this alignment that practitioners unlock the power to transform their lives and navigate reality with clarity and purpose. Central to aligning with intent is the cultivation of awareness. Awareness is the foundation upon which all Toltec practices are built, for it allows us to perceive the subtle flow of intent in the world. This begins with quieting the mind and observing reality without the distortions of fear, ego, or preconceived notions. The Toltecs often speak of the need to silence the internal dialogue, the ceaseless chatter of the mind that keeps us disconnected from the present moment. By stilling this inner noise, practitioners open themselves to the subtle guidance of intent, recognizing its presence in the rhythms of life and the synchronistic events that shape their paths. Another key aspect of aligning with intent is the practice of impeccability. In Toltec philosophy, impeccability means living with integrity, precision, and awareness in every thought, word, and action. It is not about striving for perfection, but about using our energy wisely and intentionally. To be impeccable is to act in alignment with our highest truth, free from self-doubt and wasted energy. When practitioners live impeccably, they create a clear, stable channel for intent to flow through them, allowing them to act with purpose and effectiveness. Discipline is also crucial in the process of alignment. This is not a rigid or punishing discipline, but a conscious effort to refine our perception and habits. The Toltecs often describe this as the work of the warrior, someone who approaches life with courage, focus, and an unwavering commitment to growth. A disciplined practitioner learns to recognize distractions and illusions, directing their energy toward that or what truly matters. Through practices such as meditation, ritual, and self-reflection, they hone their ability to attune to intent and act in harmony with its flow. Ritual and sacred practice play an essential role in aligning with intent. These practices serve as a bridge between the mundane and the sacred, helping practitioners to shift their consciousness and connect with the deeper forces at work in the universe. For example, rituals of gratitude or offerings can be used to honor the presence of intent, fostering a sense of humility and reverence. Similarly, the practice of dreaming or conscious exploration of the inner realms allows practitioners to engage directly with intent in its more subtle and expansive forms. Aligning with intent also requires a willingness to surrender. This is perhaps one of the most challenging aspects of the Toltec path, as it involves letting go of the need to control or predict outcomes. Instead of forcing their will upon the world, practitioners learn to trust the unfolding of life, recognizing that intent often works in ways that are beyond the comprehension of the rational mind. This surrender is not passive resignation, but an active participation in the flow of existence, guided by intuition and a deep sense of connection to the greater whole. Ultimately, aligning with intent is a process of inner transformation. It requires practitioners to clear away the mental and emotional clutter that obscures their perception, cultivate a state of presence and clarity, and act with impeccability and purpose. By doing so, they become aligned with the creative force of the universe, capable of shaping their lives in harmony with the greater currents of existence. This alignment is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing practice, a way of living that deepens and evolves over time. Through this process, the Toltec path offers a profound and practical means of engaging with intent as both a guiding principle and a source of limitless possibility. In the Toltec tradition, intent is understood not only as a universal force, but as the primary engine of creation and transformation. It is the power through which reality takes shape, where thoughts, emotions, and energy coalesce into form and experience. Toltec practitioners view intent as the bridge between the unmanifest potential of the universe and the manifested reality of the world. By aligning with this force, they can consciously shape their life, transform their perceptions, and participate in the creation of their personal and collective reality. One of the most profound teachings of the Toltec path is that reality is a dream. This is not to say that it is an illusion or unreal, but that it is shaped by perception, belief, and the creative force of intent. Just as a dreamer shapes the narrative of their dreams, so too do individuals shape their waking lives through the power of their awareness and alignment with intent. The Toltecs teach that most people live in a dream shaped by social conditioning, fears, and unconscious patterns. But through mastery of intent, we can awaken from this state and consciously dream a new reality into being. The transformative potential of intent begins with the individual's capacity to shift their perception. Perception in the Toltec view is not a passive act, but an active process that is shaped by intent. By changing how we perceive the world, we can alter the very fabric of our reality. For example, a challenge or obstacle may appear unsurmountable to someone whose perception is clouded by fear or self-doubt. However, by aligning with intent and shifting their perception, that same individual can see the challenge as an opportunity for growth or a gateway to new possibilities. This shift in perception is not merely psychological, but a direct engagement with the creative force of intent, which responds to the practitioner's clarity and focus. Beyond transforming perception, intent also serves as the driving force behind action. In the Toltec tradition, action that is guided by intent is more than mere activity. It becomes a form of co-creation with the universe. When an individual acts in alignment with intent, their actions carry a deeper power and resonance, as they are infused with the energy of the universal force itself. This is why the Toltecs emphasize the importance of impeccability in thought, word, and deed. Impeccable actions are not only aligned with truth and integrity, but are also aligned with intent, allowing them to manifest powerful and transformative outcomes. The creative and transformative potential of intent extends to the reshaping of our inner world. Toltec practices often focus on dissolving limiting beliefs, emotional wounds, and habitual patterns that keep individuals trapped in a smaller version of themselves. By working with intent, practitioners can release these inner blockages and access a deeper sense of freedom and possibility. This process is not about suppressing or denying aspects of ourself, but about transmuting them through the power of intent, transforming fear into courage, doubt into clarity, and limitation into expansion. The Toltecs also teach that intent is not confined to the individual, but operates on a collective level as well. Just as an individual can use intent to shape their personal reality, groups of aligned individuals can use intent to create collective transformations. This principle underpins many Toltec rituals and ceremonies which are designed to harness the power of shared intent to bring about healing, harmony, or change. When a community comes together with a unified focus and impeccable alignment, the force of intent becomes exponentially more powerful, capable of creating profound shifts in both inner and outer worlds. The transformative power of intent is perhaps most illustrated in Toltec stories and teachings. For example, the warrior on the path of knowledge uses intent to overcome fear and self-doubt, breaking free from the prison of ordinary perception to experience the boundless freedom of their true nature. Another common teaching speaks of the Nagual, a Toltec teacher or guide, who uses their mastery of intent to help others awaken to their potential and reshape their lives. These stories serve not only as inspiration, but as practical demonstrations of how intent can be wielded as a force of transformational growth. Ultimately, intent is the source of infinite possibility. To work with intent is to recognize ourselves as co-creators of reality, capable of participating in the ongoing evolution of existence. This recognition is both empowering and humbling, as it requires a deep commitment to living with awareness, impeccability, and responsibility. For the Toltec practitioner, aligning with intent is not merely a spiritual practice, but a way of life, one that transforms the mundane into the sacred and the ordinary into the extraordinary. Through this alignment, intent becomes a creative and transformative force, unlocking the limitless potential within each individual and the universe itself. While the concept of intent in the Toltec tradition holds profound creative and transformative power, it is not without its challenges. The path to understanding and working with intent is often fraught with obstacles that arise from misconceptions, personal limitations, and the inherent complexities of human nature. For many, the subtleties of intent can be difficult to grasp, leading to misunderstandings and hinder its proper application and alignment. These challenges are not merely theoretical, but deeply rooted in the living experience of those seeking to walk the Toltec path. One of the most common misunderstandings of intent is the tendency to conflate it with personal will or desire. In modern society, many are taught to believe that success comes from forcefully imposing their will on the world, pushing through obstacles with sheer determination. While determination has its value, the Toltec understanding of intent goes far beyond this limited perspective. Intent is not about bending the universe to suit our ego-driven desires. Rather, it is about aligning with the deeper flow of existence. This requires humility, patience, and the ability to listen to the subtle guidance of intent, qualities that often run counter to the ego's need for control and immediate gratification. Another significant challenge in working with intent is the interference of the internal dialogue, the incessant chatter of the mind that clouds perception and blocks the flow of intent. The internal dialogue is shaped by fear, doubt, societal conditioning, and habitual thought patterns that keep individuals trapped in a limited understanding of themselves and the world. For practitioners on the Toltec path, quieting this mental noise is essential to perceiving and aligning with intent. However, this is easier said than done, as the mind is deeply conditioned to cling to familiar narratives and resist the unknown. Overcoming this challenge requires consistent practice, whether through meditation, self-reflection, or techniques aimed at silencing the inner or the internal dialogue. Fear and doubt also play a significant role in obstructing the flow of intent. These emotions can arise when we begin to step outside the comfort zone of their habitual reality, confronting the vast and often unpredictable nature of intent. The Toltec path requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty and trust in the unfolding of life. Yet fear and doubt can create resistance, causing individuals to hesitate or retreat into old patterns. To navigate these challenges, practitioners must cultivate courage and faith, not blind faith in external force, but a deep trust in their own ability to align with and be guided by intent. This process often involves facing and dissolving the illusions that give rise to fear and doubt, a task that demands both vulnerability and resilience. Misinterpretations of intent can also lead to spiritual bypassing or escapism. Some may view intent as a magical force that can be used to manifest their desires without effort or accountability, mistaking the Toltec teachings for a simplistic law of attraction. This misunderstanding not only trivializes the depth of the Toltec tradition, but also overlooks the importance of impeccability and personal responsibility. Aligning with intent is not about passively wishing for outcomes or avoiding the hard work of transformation. It is about living with integrity and taking conscious, purposeful action. Misusing or misunderstanding intent in this way can lead to disillusionment and stagnation, as the practitioner fails to engage with the deeper layers of the practice. Another challenge lies in the inherently paradoxical nature of intent. It is both personal and universal, both within and beyond the individual. Navigating this paradox requires a shift in perspective, moving beyond dualistic thinking and embracing a more holistic understanding of existence. For many, this can be a difficult transition, as it involves letting go of deeply ingrained beliefs about separation, control, and linear causality. The Toltec path encourages practitioners to develop a fluid or expansive awareness, but this level of understanding often takes years of practice to cultivate, and the journey is rarely straightforward. External influences can also complicate the process of aligning with intent. In a world driven by materialism, competition, and instant gratification, it can be challenging to maintain this focus and discipline required to work with intent. Social pressures and cultural norms often reinforce the ego's desires, pulling individuals away from the deeper truths of the Toltec teachings. Additionally, misinformation and superficial interpretations of the Toltec path, often spread through popular media, can lead to confusion and diluted understanding of intent. Practitioners must navigate these influences with discernment, seeking authentic guidance and remaining grounded in their own direct experience of the practice. Finally, one of the most profound challenges of working with intent is the recognition of its vast and impersonal nature. While intent can be directed and harnessed by the individual, it ultimately operates as a scale that transcends human comprehension. This can be both awe-inspiring and intimidating, as it forces practitioners to confront their own limitations and insignificance within the greater web of existence. To align with intent is to surrender to its mystery, allowing ourselves to be a vessel for its flow without fully understanding its scope or purpose. This surrender requires a level of trust and openness that can be difficult to cultivate, especially for those accustomed to certainty and control. Despite these challenges, the Toltec path provides tools and practices to overcome them, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. By facing these difficulties with courage and commitment, practitioners deepen their relationship with intent, gaining insight and wisdom along the way. The challenges and misunderstandings of intent are not barriers to its power, but integral aspects of the journey, offering valuable lessons that lead to greater alignment and transformation. Through perseverance and self-awareness, the practitioner moves closer to embodying the true essence of intent, unlocking its profound potential to shape their life and the world around them. In the modern world, where the pace of life is rapid and distractions abound, the Toltec concept of intent offers a deeply relevant and transformative framework for navigating the complexities of contemporary existence. At a time when many feel disconnected from themselves, others, and the natural world, the teachings of intent provide a pathway back to alignment, purpose, and creative empowerment. Far from being an esoteric relic of the past, the Toltec understanding of intent is a timeless philosophy that resonates with the needs and challenges of today's society. One of the most significant ways in which intent is relevant to modern life is its capacity to restore a sense of agency and empowerment. In a world increasingly shaped by external forces, be they economic pressures, societal expectations, or technological advances, many people feel as though they are merely passengers in their own lives, buffeted by circumstances beyond their control. The Toltec teaching that intent is the creative force behind reality reminds individuals of their innate power to shape their lives from the inside out. By consciously aligning with intent, we can move from a reactive state to a proactive, intentional way of being, reclaiming the ability to co-create their reality in harmony with the greater flow of existence. Moreover, the practice of working with intent encourages mindfulness and presence, qualities that are increasingly rare in a world dominated by multitasking and digital distractions. The Toltec emphasis on aligning with intent requires us to be fully present, attuned to the subtleties of the moment, and aware of the interconnectedness of thoughts, actions, and outcomes. In doing so, it fosters a deeper connection to ourselves and the surrounding world. This sense of presence can be a powerful antidote to the fragmentation and overstimulation that many experience in modern life, helping individuals to find clarity, focus, and balance amidst the chaos. The Toltec understanding of intent also speaks to the growing recognition of the mind-body connection and the role of energy in well-being. As modern science and spirituality increasingly converge, there is a heightened awareness of how thoughts, emotions, and intentions influence physical health, relationships, and overall quality of life. The Toltec teachings align seamlessly with these insights, offering practical tools for harnessing the power of intent to create positive changes in all areas of life. Whether through visualization, affirmations, or focused action, the practice of aligning with intent can help individuals manifest their goals, heal emotional wounds, and cultivate a sense of wholeness. In addition to its individual benefits, the Toltec concept of intent has profound implications for collective transformation. In an era marked by ecological crises, social division, and widespread uncertainty, the idea that intent operates on both personal and collective levels offers hope and inspiration. Just as individuals can use intent to reshape their personal realities, communities can come together to align their collective intent toward shared goals, such as environmental sustainability, social justice, or the creation of more compassionate and inclusive societies. The Toltec tradition reminds us that the power of unified intent is immense, capable of bringing about profound shifts in the collective consciousness and the physical world. Another area where Toltec teachings on intent holds particular relevance is the realm of technology and artificial intelligence. As humanity ventures deeper into the digital age, questions about the role of human consciousness, creativity, and purpose are becoming increasingly urgent. The Toltec perspective on intent offers a counterbalance to the mechanistic view of reality, emphasizing the primacy of awareness and the creative force of the human spirit. By integrating the wisdom of intent with modern technological advancements, it may be possible to foster a more balanced and holistic approach to progress, one that honors both innovation and the deeper truths of existence. The relevance of intent also extends to modern spiritual seekers, many of whom are searching for practices that are practical, adaptable, and grounded in lived experience. Unlike dogmatic or hierarchical systems, the Toltec path offers a flexible framework that can be integrated into diverse belief systems and lifestyles. The practice of aligning with intent is not confined to a specific religion or tradition, but is universally accessible, making it an invaluable tool for anyone seeking greater self-awareness, purpose, and connection. In this way, the Toltec teachings resonate with the modern emphasis on personal spirituality and the quest for meaning in an increasingly complex world. Finally, the Toltec understanding of intent provides a much-needed reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. At a time when humanity's actions are having far-reaching impacts on the planet and future generations, the teaching that intent shapes not only individual realities but also the fabric of existence encourages a sense of responsibility and stewardship. It invites us to consider how our thoughts, choices, and actions ripple outward, influencing not only our own lives but the collective dream of humanity. By aligning with intent, individuals can contribute to the creation of a more harmonious and sustainable world, one that reflects the highest possibilities of human potential. In essence, the Toltec concept of intent serves as both a spiritual compass and a practical guide for modern life. It reminds us that despite the challenges and uncertainties of the present moment, we possess an innate power to create, transform, and evolve. By embracing the teachings of intent, we can move beyond the limitations of fear, doubt, and fragmentation, stepping into a reality that is consciously shaped by awareness, purpose, and harmony. In this way, the ancient wisdom of the Toltec tradition continues to illuminate the path forward, offering timeless insights for navigating the complexities of the modern world with clarity, integrity, and grace. The Toltec understanding of intent offers a profound and transformative framework that bridges the gap between the ancient and the modern, the personal and the universal, the tangible and the transcendent. Central to Toltec philosophy, intent is not merely a concept but a dynamic force that permeates all of existence, empowering individuals to co-create their realities in alignment with the deeper currents of life. It transcends the confines of willpower and desire, inviting practitioners to move beyond ego-driven ambitions and instead cultivate a relationship with the boundless creative energy that shapes the universe. By understanding and aligning with intent, we embark on a journey of personal transformation, spiritual awakening, and holistic connection with the greater web of existence. The exploration of intent begins with recognizing its nature as a force that unites thought, action, and creation. It asks practitioners to move beyond linear and dualistic thinking, to trust in the unseen, and to perceive themselves not as isolated beings, but as active participants in an interconnected cosmos. Aligning with intent requires more than intellectual understanding. It is a living practice that demands humility, self-awareness, and disciplined attention. Through this alignment, individuals unlock the power to shape their lives with clarity, purpose, and authenticity, transforming not only their external circumstances, but also their internal landscapes. At the same time, working with intent is not without its challenges. Misunderstandings, fear, doubt, and the incessant chatter of the mind can obscure its flow and hinder its application. The journey to mastery is one of continual refinement, requiring practitioners to confront their limitations and transcend the barriers imposed by the ego and societal conditioning. Yet these very challenges become the crucible of growth, offering invaluable lessons that deepen our understanding of intent and its boundless potential. In the context of the modern world, the Toltec teachings on intent are especially relevant. They provide tools for reclaiming agency and empowerment in an age of disconnection and overwhelm, fostering mindfulness, presence, and creative resilience. Whether in the pursuit of personal transformation, the cultivation of harmonious relationships, or the creation of collective change, the principles of intent guide us toward a more intentional and purpose-driven way of being. They remind us that our thoughts, choices, and actions are not isolated events, but threads woven into the larger fabric of existence, carrying the power to shape the world around us. Ultimately, the Toltec path of intent is a call to remember our creative essence and our interconnectedness with the universe. It challenges us to embrace our role as co-creators, to honor the sacred flow of life, and to step into our potential with courage and impeccability. In doing so, we become not only dreamers, but conscious dreamers, capable of shaping realities that reflect the highest possibilities of human spirit. The Toltec tradition, with its timeless wisdom and profound insights, continues to inspire and guide us, reminding us that the power of intent is always within reach, waiting to be awakened and aligned with the deeper rhythms of existence. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the teachings of intent offer a beacon of hope, inviting us to move beyond the illusions of separation and into a reality shaped by awareness, harmony, and purposeful creation. It is a journey of awakening, not to something outside of ourselves, but to the truth that has always been within us, that we are and have always been creators in a universe alive with possibility. And that brings us to the end of today's show, and I do thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.